V8. I want reliability.
You try not to roll it, just tip it in too much.
This guy challenged us, so we decided let's build a race car.
Welcome back to another Stay Tuned episode. Today we have an exciting group of guys coming all the way over from South Africa, and it will be our first international Just Autos distributor. They are US Cruisers. On today's podcast, we're going to compare what it's like to do full driving in Australia as well as what it's like in South Africa. So let's get into it. All right, so obviously we've got Jason, Tinnis and Liam here, but I'll start off with Jason first and then we'll move around and tell us a bit about US Cruisers, where you guys started from, and we'll go from there.
So I guess the business started as more of a interest. We had a common interest in Tinnis needed Cummins diesel engines, and I had Cummins diesel engines, and we started trading in them.
Yes.
And then we started opening conversations on what he needed in terms of the Ram business that he had and the customer requirements for Toyotas, where they wanted automatic transmissions in their Toyotas because their Rams had automatic transmissions.
Yeah.
And well, I said, I'll design it and we'll put it in Toyota LandCruisers and we'll make it work. And we'll use Toyota products in a Toyota.
Yeah.
And that's where we started. And basically what happened was, I did all the engineering. Tinnis said, well, when you've done all the engineering, we'll productionize it in my workshops. And that's basically how we started kind of a friendship and a business. And what turned out was a hobby of mine, part-time, turned out into a business with Tinnis.
So how long have you guys been working together for?
Well, I think it's been about 5 years now total.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I understand that you guys are quite a fair distance away from each other in South Africa.
Well, Jason was in Richards Bay.
Yeah.
But then he decided to immigrate.
Yeah.
He's moved on to Neisner.
Yeah.
It's about far. Is it 1,000 Ks plus? 1,000?
Yeah, it's 1,300 kilometers away.
Yeah.
But we have a good understanding.
Yeah.
As Tinnis runs the workshops, we've got a workshop manager. He runs the operations down there since I've moved away.
Yeah.
And then my main focus is business development, supplier development, engagement with the clients on a high level.
Yeah.
And then Tinnis on a medium level, he's focused on his Ram business.
Yep.
And then he keeps an eye on the workshops and things like that. So it really dovetails and works well. I don't have to get involved in the workshops too often. I'll make sure that the business runs on a high level, strategic level.
Interesting. All right. So tell me a bit about South Africa and the demographics there, because obviously I hear there's a lot of Toyotas in South Africa and there's a lot going on over there. But where do you see a lot of your customers coming from? Is it like, is it farming? Is it, mining? Is it, a lot of commercial stuff, or is it a bit in between?
I think it's more in between. I think, obviously there's a lot of farmers using LandCruisers.
Yeah.
And the Hilux business is also quite big. So in the US Cruiser business, I think most of our customer base would be based in the Gauteng area. So that's in the Pretoria, that general area where we've opened our new branch now. And most of those cars don't ever see off-road. I mean, it's a nice cruiser.
Yes.
It's got a nice set of wheels, lift kit, all kinds of stuff. So it's not really a demographic. I think it's more it's a cult following.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think you just said, Liam was telling me that you had a show that you were just recently at last week, and that you had a whole lot of Hiluxes turn up. It was like a bit of a record or something.
Some world record for the Hilux event.
For how many Hilux in one spot, was that right?
And we had some minor events. Most heaters pressed in like one go, doors closed in one go, tail gets closed in one go. Still a new Hilux.
Yeah, wow.
Everyone that entered, I think it was some old family that had a Legend 35.
Yes.
And the new Hilux.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's pretty cool.
And so that's all having so many of those Hiluxes. How many did you say? It was like 2,500 or something like that?
Can't remember. It was either 20,000 or 2,500.
Yeah. That's a big difference, eh? Like, that's a big difference, but yeah.
It's around 2,000 cars. So
Yeah,
it was
that's
quite a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. So 79 series, how did you get into doing auto conversions for that? Because I understand you said that, hey, Ram owners had it, and that's something that you wanted to give to the 79 series owners. It's just, obviously there's a few automatic, conversion kits that are here in Australia, but being in America, in South Africa, how did you go, oh, cool, we're going to start to do this?
Well, what happened was, obviously at this same show, Nampo, I used to get so many inquiries. The guys would see the Rams and they ask us, could we do an auto version of the V8 Cruiser or whatever? Can we maybe even put a Hemi in it and make it auto? And I just refused to do something like that.
So they love the shape and the simple.
They love the truck.
Simplicity of the car. They just wanted an auto in it.
And 100%. And I just said to Jason, when he approached me, and he came to buy some merch in the shop and just came and chatted. And he said, listen, why don't we do something cool like putting V8 Coyote motors into Rangers? And I said, there's no fucking ways. So the long and the short was, I said to him, but what I do get a lot of inquiries for is an auto LandCruiser. So if we could do that, there'd be a huge market for it because, and I saw the guys in Australia do the auto box. So I said to him, we should get those kits and get it done.
Yeah.
But after doing a bit of homework, it was just the lead times and the costing and everything just wouldn't work. So Jason said he'd engineer it.
Yeah, definitely.
Find something.
Obviously, we see with, freight being an issue and you guys are far away, there's definitely, I know it's a long flight to get here. So.
Yeah, from our side, it was an accident.
Yes.
That caused me to say, bugger this, I'm going Toyota.
Yeah.
So I had a Land Rover Discovery.
Oh, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah. So
I didn't realize that, but I know that about you.
So
you're one of those owners. Yeah, right. Okay.
I was one of those owners. I was a very happy owner until.
Because they're big over there, aren't they? Like, is that the competing
in the day they were
against the Toyota?
They were really selling well.
It's not competition.
Yeah.
I don't think. But
about 15 years ago with this Discovery 3, they were really, really popular. It was a really, really popular car. And actually what happened to me, I was coming back from business from Cape Town to where I live now in Knysna, and the crank snapped. And I had to sell this beautiful vehicle for scrap.
Yeah.
And the first thing I said is, I'm buying a Toyota VDJ 70 V8. I want reliability.
Yeah.
And the first thing I missed on it was my auto box.
Yeah.
And then I started looking around. I looked in Australia. I found the solution, but the solution didn't work for us. The costings weren't right for the South African market. Didn't fit my budget. And then I said, well, I've come from a mining background. I put a lot of auto boxes in massive vehicles. Why can't we do that? Why can't I do this for a Toyota LandCruiser? It can't be that difficult.
You actually did the Kamaz.
Yeah, I did a Kamaz, a Russian Kamaz. I did the first Russian Kamaz with an Allison 7600 mining transmission.
Yeah, wow.
And we still have the truck.
Yeah.
So Tinnis has the truck. We made a cool...
Put a Ford F650 body on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Mega truck.
Yeah.
So it's one of our marketing tools in the future that we haven't finished off. But if I could do that, and then I studied it up, and then we designed everything and we made it fit as if it looked like it came out of the factory. So if you had to have a look at one of our conversions, the shifters, all the hard parts are actually Toyota down to the nuts and bolts.
It's really funny because JM, he's part of our team. I'm always giving him shit about owning Land Rovers and, Discoveries and bits and pieces. And he loves them. And being South African himself, it's funny that that seems to be that culture there as well with those particular cars. And, you've got, either one or the other. But you're saying that they're not as popular nowadays, or?
I think they are, but I mean, there's always going to be the following for the land.
Yeah. Because you think of Safari, Africa, like in my mind, I think of like an old Defender or something like that,
I think the British left these things everywhere. So it's got to leave some oil leaks everywhere. So, but yeah, there's always going to be a following first.
The old
exactly right. And those kind of things are.
There's a cult following there for them. Yeah, there's actually there's quite a couple of companies in South Africa, I think 2 or 3, who actually buy up the traditional Defender and they restore them.
Oh, yeah.
And then they actually export and they convert them to left-hand drive.
Yes.
And they actually put a LS3 motor in them.
Yeah. There's lots of different stuff you can see because of Defenders and stuff.
And then they go to the US. That is their big market. So they're big factories. That's all they're doing is restorations for export.
You can get the Series 1 or Series 2, the really old Land Rovers, and you can get them, motor matching numbers and that kind of stuff. It's big money.
Yeah, I just don't know what the
Huge
the
dollars.
thing is about them, but I guess it's the same with the 70 series. Is that it's really funny is that car is that a lot of people love that style, and I think Toyota's done really well. And if you look at probably Land Rover, they did the same thing where they've kept the same style, very unique. They've done very subtle changes over the years of having those cars, and I think that's the beauty of having something that people rely on, look at, yeah, it seems to work. So tell me a bit about your other business. Obviously, so you do, auto conversions in the 70 series. I think you guys were talking about some of the builds that you build for these customers, and you're going in about the fact that you've built certain like lounge chairs and whole different bits and pieces for these guys in their cars and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so to get in the market, we had to come up with something unique.
Yes.
And Tinnis and I decided, well, the auto conversion is pretty unique. We'll make it totally South African. All the IP and everything we generated there, we manufacture everything that needs to be added on in South Africa. So it's a South African product. So that got us into the market. And then we wanted to be a one-stop shop. So if you wanted your performance, your reliability, reliable performance upgrades to your engine and things like that, we are the guys for you. So we spend time on that. We try to partner up with the right people. The interiors of the vehicle, we do some pretty spectacular things with that. We've even had left-hand drive vehicles coming from Europe to have our interior upgrades done.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm just finishing one now up for the UK, the second one for the UK. And this gentleman wants a cigar lounge with heated seats, heated steering wheel, a fallow deer hunting rig on the back. So it's a little bit out of our ballpark or where we want to focus. But you've got to cater for that special client, because if you delight that type of client,
Yes.
your reputation will be elevated.
Yeah.
Especially across Europe. We're even getting Europeans bringing their vehicles all the way from Europe now for us to work on them. I've got one from Switzerland. I've got one from the UK. Last year I got one from the UK. We even had a G-Wagon come from Germany.
Yeah, wow.
To just tinker on it, service it, make sure it was good enough to go back through West Africa, back to Europe. So we get that type of clientele coming through now. And that would have never happened if we didn't have a very good reputation in our own market in South Africa for what we do and the way we do it with integrity and honesty.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's that's really good to see. Definitely. I thought it was amazing that you would go to those lengths and do those things, but it's cool to see. As far as other cool things to talk about, bone stock, I guess we'll talk about that ute, because it's something that from social media aspect and so forth, you guys have that in South Africa. I've seen so many different clips of it come through. I think that's probably where our relationship started. I spoke to Jason, it was a couple of years ago. And then as of last 12 months, we sort of established this relationship. And one of the very first cars was bone stock that I tuned for you guys over there. So tell us a bit about that car.
That's just an awesome little cruiser. I mean, we absolutely built the car, and it just happened by accident, because we had a customer that had an auto box in the car and he wanted to upgrade, and so I decided to keep the car, buy it back, and so instead of taking the box out and putting in a new cruiser, we just bought the car. And shortly after that, actually the year before, one of the competitors actually challenged us in a way. He said, listen, you got to come for the bit of a drag race. There's a Sondela, we call it the Sondela Cruiser Festival.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like the Land Cruiser Festival. All the Land Cruisers in South Africa come together and they have a nice party. And there's a short little drag race, 200-meter drag race. And so it's always big competition. And this guy challenged us. So we decided, let's build a race car. So we took mine and Liam's little bit of experience that we had in kart racing and all the good stuff, and we made the car efficient. And luckily, you phoned it, I think a couple of weeks before that, and actually got we still had another tune on that car, on that event, but straight after that, you phoned us, and we started with our tuning with Just Autos. And this car was just, we put in, I think, a fiberglass box on it.
Yeah, make that light as possible.
Made it really light.
Yeah,
we put a Caltrack suspension in it.
Yeah,
so it gets some
traction.
traction.
Yeah,
and so we use that philosophy, weight saving everywhere. We put lighter wheels on it. Got the supplier to actually weigh the wheels, find the lightest tires, put those on.
Yeah,
and we beat the guys on all kinds of other stuff. But that made the car just sick. At the moment, with your latest tune and the latest turbo, we're doing 4.6 seconds, 0 to 100. So
yeah,
I think quarter mile in 12.9.
I haven't tested it, That was just the SD3 tune that we just got on.
Yeah, it's actually not even fine-tuned. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's really a nice little drivable car, and that's what I keep telling the customers. It's if you want to sell an auto box or a tune, just give them the keys.
Yeah.
And as soon as they come back, big smiles,
Yeah.
and just bring the checkbook.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah, definitely. It's a unique car because it's obviously style side and bits and pieces and single cab.
And the whole bone stock thing is actually in the interview. They just before the drag race, we were pulling up to the line, and they gave a mic to the other guys, and they said they got 400 kilowatts, and this is what they got, and intake pipes, and they brought the mic to me, and they said, "Tell us about your car." I said, "Bone stock," because it looked bone stock. I just didn't want to make it look like a fast cruiser or anything. It was just a bone stock little cruiser. Took the standard bumper back on it.
So went from that and then elevated, and you're stuck with that name.
So now it's been, it's famous.
Stragged. We still just had an exhaust, an intake, and a stage to tune, and the water bomb.
Yeah.
We still messed up like hybrid turbo cruisers. The stage to tune. I mean, it only made how much?
It was just over 200.
Yeah.
It was just over 200 kilo. Because when you got hold of the vehicle that one day, we added an extra 100 horsepower.
Before the turbo, before the uni chip, before everything, it was still when we had like a local tune on it. I think we were probably making like 220 horsepower, man.
Wow. Yeah.
But look, the Autobox helped us in the
Yeah,
drag
definitely
races.
does, without a doubt.
Then it just built a whole reputation. And,
Yeah.
Since that time, Liam's now taken it to some dune events. And also huge popularity. So now if you pull into a gas station, everybody knows the car. They all want to take a picture. So
Yeah, wow, that's
so
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's brought that theme to you guys, and obviously it's worked as a marketing tool for you really well.
Marketing. I think it's it's not what we want to try and promote. It's not like that's only performance, because we've had that from people saying performance based company. It's not only about that. It was having reliable performance and a drivable car. That was for me the biggest thing about the car is the drivability. That's
One of the things we never put on it, and you refused, was we will never put NOS on it or autometh or anything. It's got to be a daily driver. It's one of our workhorses. It brings an income to the business every single day. It has to work. It is not a show pony. Yeah, it's a workhorse.
I think the other thing for that car was just to test that the gearbox would handle how much you can handle.
How much abuse it could take.
And being AB60, I mean, we know like from 200 series and what we see with them, they're an awesome gearbox. So it's one of my favorite gearboxes for sure.
some serious punishment. I mean, that car's it's being abused every day, and when you give it to a customer, obviously they're going to.
What was really interesting was conversation around how that you've had a lot to do with 8 HPs as well, and the 75s and the 95s and so forth. And you said that you had done a conversion into a 70 series with an 8 HP. And that you still do them, obviously, in a lot of the RAM stuff and so forth that you do. But it was interesting that the conversation around not having the HP go over that path of taking away the AB60 and putting that into the 70 series. So
I think it made no sense.
what was your feelings around that? Like, what was your decision with the AB60? Like, I've got my personal preferences, but like, I'm curious to see yours.
The main reason I think was to have a Toyota box and a Toyota. I think that made total sense. And the big thing is in South Africa, a lot of the guys that does have a cruiser do a bit of overlanding, or they, a holiday into Mozambique or Botswana and all these neighboring countries. So if you out there, you don't want to have an 8 HP brake on you. I mean, if there's something going wrong, like an electronic, any fault, a wiring issue, it would mean one of us would have to fly there and go and sort out the problem. There's no ways that you're going to sort that out in that country.
Yeah.
So with an AB60, the guy could really go to the local Toyota guys, just put a new box in if they really have to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They've got options.
Yeah.
More options.
So it's as close as possible to a 200 drivetrain.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. I always found that I love the fact of not having adapters and bolting it up, and everything sort of matches, especially one from a flex plate converter point of view and pump alignments and all those things. As much as we can get adapter plates work really well with a lot of conversion stuff, it's always one of my fears about making sure it's 100% right, and it needs to be. There is something beautiful about OEM. They definitely do make some pretty cool gear.
It was just straightforward bolt on.
Yeah.
We don't cut the firewall or anything like that. Prop shafts are the original ones. So yeah, it really is a clean conversion. And the 8 HP just wouldn't be that.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't, it works, but it doesn't work. So
What's pretty exciting is that you guys are our first international distributor that has officially come on. So that's really exciting for us. How do you think the Just Autos product will be received in South Africa? Obviously, we're fairly new to go down this, and we've already done a few cars. But what do you think the future holds for all of us?
I think if we now officially start marketing the proper packages, I think it's going to be very popular. Fuel economy, the whole thing, it's not all about that, but I think that the packages just work. And from what we've seen is the reliability, and it just improves the cars. So the market in that Gauteng area to start with will be massive. I think, the fact that they'd be able to walk into our Centurion facility, get
and so this is the new workshop you guys are building at the moment. So whereabouts is that located?
That's in Pretoria. So it's in the city of Pretoria, so it's Centurion area.
Yep.
And it's right next to the N1 highway, so hard to miss. We got a huge billboard on
the cool. And when will you be operational in that new building?
We're sort of operational, but I think the official opening will be later this month, June actually, later next month. So so it should be happening very soon.
Yeah, cool.
I'm very excited to get this done. It's been 6 months in the
a lot of work. Yeah, it's been a busy year for you guys.
100%.
Yep. So
we're very excited. Honestly, I think the Just Autos, to have that there, I think, and really have it available for the whole Hilux market, the cruiser market, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, look, we're super excited as well. We can see huge potential, especially with a lot of the stuff that's over there. I think one of the biggest things that my eyes open to is it seems to be that South Africa is a little bit behind the 8 ball as far as the technology goes with some of the stuff that we do with the cars. And it's sort of like, what I mean that from is as a tuning, I guess, professional sort of style as far as what goes on with that. Some of the tunes that I've seen and how it's being done is definitely very old school, and not really the most effective way of doing something nowadays. So, but moving forward with how we do these packages and tuning, I definitely believe that a lot of your customer base will soon start to see, the effects of doing something correctly and properly.
Definitely. I think, obviously there must be a huge following from South Africa for Just Autos.
Yeah, we get a lot of inquiry. It's actually funny, the boys get a lot of inquiry on a daily basis coming through, obviously our feeds. And, it only makes sense that we have a distributor over there. So I'm stoked it's you guys. We have a good understanding and relationship, and things have been going really well, especially over the last 12 months. So I'm super stoked that you've made the effort to come all the way over here. I know it's a big flight. How many hours is it?
It's 12
hours.
12 yeah, door to door was about 60.
Fly to Sydney, then up from Sydney.
And Sydney in another couple of hours, but I'd love to be in Australia. It's cool to see. I think it's a
big flight.
Yeah.
Have you been to Australia before?
No.
You've never been to Australia before?
First time.
Wow. Okay. And you come to the sunny state, right? See, the best part of Australia. Everyone's going to shoot me for that.
Rainy state the last couple of days.
Yeah, it has been actually. It's probably not the best time to get here. Yeah, definitely. But you've been here plenty of times before, haven't you, Jason?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time out in Perth.
Yep.
Typical South African. You've got some family in Australia or New Zealand.
Yeah.
I've got quite a bit of family in Perth area, down Melbourne, and then I've even got family down in New Zealand. So yeah, pretty well spread out.
Yeah, that's cool. So what holds for the rest of you guys for the rest of the year? I mean, obviously, first 6 months of this year has been pretty crazy. New shop opening up. I'm guessing you're going to get that rolling at the end of next month and get all that operational. Have you got any other plans in the pipeline, what you guys are wanting to do?
100%. I think there's quite a bit to do. We do quite a lot of shows. So you spoke about the shows, but there's quite a lot of those events that's coming up.
Yeah,
that's a big part of our marketing, is always being there. Not only for the cruisers, but for the Ram stuff. So we're always busy with those, and that sort of ends in September. I think then from October, November is a bit quieter, and we can put our heads down and do some work.
Yeah, awesome.
But yes, somebody's got to do the stuff. It's all the fun events, but yeah. So we got a lot planned.
Yeah, it's actually funny. We the last couple of years we've done a lot of different events and gone to them. And we've done things like Farm Fest, and there's sort of more agricultural shows that we have around here. And the reception at those shows is completely different to what we see at maybe a 4-wheel drive show with the different customer base. But I was surprised that the farmers and the conversations you have with the farmers are really genuine. And, you know, they definitely just want to come out and meet you, talk to you, and then, you know, they're happy to take your word. You know, you shake their hand, it is what it is, that means what it is, you know what I mean? And that's what I love about that. It's very much about respect and you know, it's something very important. Where, you know, the four-wheel drive shows, they definitely are great because you get to see a lot of people. But also there's just a lot of people just coming for a day out event just to have a look around. But yeah, it's interesting that the shows that you go to, you've got farming agriculture shows, I'm guessing, as well. Do you have full drive shows like overlanding shows as well and all that? Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We actually going to be quite privileged this year. And one of the outdoor shows is hosted on one of our famous racetracks in Swartkops in South Africa. And the organizers actually invited us to actually host a invite-only drag day on the main show day. So we'll be hosting that. We'll be inviting a couple of opposition, friends of the business, and clients, and we'll be showcasing what performance is available out there just on the performance side for the cruisers, you know, well, the Toyota range, let's call it the Toyota range. And we'll have some other fun events this year. We've organized by invitation only. We had a great experience, myself and Tinnis, last year with a group of guys, like-minded guys from Cape Route Rally, which is really great, gaining traction. And we did something called a Desert and Diamonds Dash.
Yes.
For 5 days, riding sand dunes and the dirt roads of the Western Cape and into the Spargebied, which is a diamond area of Namibia. And we had a life-changing experience there. Well, I had a life-changing experience.
Wow.
I rolled the cruiser 5 times down a sand dune due to mechanical failure, of which we learned a lot from it afterwards. And this year we decided we had so much fun. We would really like some of our customers, some of our suppliers, and what we also call friends of the business, to come and join us for 5 days, and let's go have some fun in the dunes again. You know, just relax.
Look at Joshy. Joshy's like, yes, well, can we go? Look at him.
It is so much fun. It's
so much fun, and there's just, you know, so much camaraderie. And that's, for me, that's what it's all about. It's not about the racing. It's about the camaraderie, sharing the ideas, seeing what the bone stock can do in the dunes. We've never taken her to the dunes. Well, you know, we've taken her up the dune.
I mean, you know, like, we love the cruiser and whatever, but it's just fun. It's so much fun. The drags, all the events, dunes. I mean, we went to that one, dude. So much fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've ever seen this, but the dune surfing that they do. So the guys don't just go up the dune. They go sideways or surf down. And so they're crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So these guys are absolutely mad. And when I saw it the first time, I also said to Jason, there's no ways we're doing this. And 10 minutes later, we were like sideways on the dune. So yeah, it was really good fun.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, try not to roll it, just tip it in too much, just make sure you're straight enough.
And that was the problem. We had one wheel hub that just failed. And if you watch the video of Jason inside the car, you could actually hear the wheel hub just, you know, break.
Yeah.
And then seconds later, it was just tumbling down the dune. So
yeah, but that's because you're on full lock for so long.
Yeah.
And you've got the CV angle over too much. Is that what it is? Or
it was just traction on the bottom right.
Yes.
Because you got full lock, you have to do full lock diffs, all diffs lock, center lock to get the traction.
Yeah.
And it actually pulls you up the dune at an angle. And what happens is, if you get into trouble, full lock down, power down.
Yeah.
So you bring the nose down and get yourself out of trouble.
Yeah.
So what actually happened was, the right, we were going up left, and you needed to power down right.
Okay? Yeah, and you didn't have the front to pull you down.
Right, to put it down. That one snapped.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't turning.
Yeah, so it wouldn't, don't pull you around.
The hub snapped. Yeah, that ring snapped.
So it's slowing you, it's pulling you around very slowly.
Yeah.
To the point where your side on was.
Yeah, so you couldn't have traction on that turning wheel to
pull you down.
So it actually started digging in slowly, and then eventually you start rolling.
Yeah.
It's really a lot.
Yeah.
Far.
Yeah. Are you able to straighten up on the opposite way? Like to straighten up and keep straight?
Yeah.
Or if you get in time?
It's also quite dangerous. If you straighten up and they say, don't do it, you straighten up and you look vertical and you stop. But now you've got to reverse down.
All the way down.
You know, like 100, 150 meters down in soft sand.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
wants to push you around.
You might get in, and you might also get something wrong.
Yeah, so it's sketchy either way.
So we got some good trainers out there, some really experienced guys that taught myself at Tinnis some things. We didn't know what we were doing, really. When we got there, we were quite green. We were very green.
Yeah.
And Louis put us in the vehicle and he just said, you do this, you do that. If in trouble, turn down, power. Put your foot flat. It must you must hit the rev limiter until you're in safety.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's cool.
for us, it was a great experience.
And so how far away from like civilization? Like, is it far away or?
Far away.
Yeah.
So it's quite a distance to travel, and it's Northern Cape. So from Cape Town, it's probably about 400 k's.
Yeah.
And then to the border post of Namibia, and then you go into Namibia, and
there's nothing around.
Remote. Yeah,
It's remote.
it's very
Beautiful.
remote.
So you got to take petrol with you and everything else. And
There was little towns that you could find
fuel
some
up.
fuel, so
Yeah.
you could fuel up. So we had like little stops, and like we camped the one night, and other nights we were in like little hotels. But beautiful area. It's totally recommended if you ever go.
Yeah, right.
So you gotta see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. So you had a lot of fun. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Totally recommended.
We'll give you buying stock as a courtesy.
Yeah. Oh, don't tempt me. Josh is like, yeah, I'm coming.
Well, we got to have a film crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's quite cool. We also have the Cape Ridge Rally guys are fully rigged they have a full support film crew for the whole week. So that they really want to bring across how great South Africa is and how great, let's call it the overlanding / adventure driving is in Southern Africa, you know.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's interesting. We've actually seen quite a few cars that we've done through the shop that have been built and been sent overseas, Europe, Africa, even America and stuff. And they've done touring through those countries. It's quite amazing that someone, designs and builds a car here and then goes, right, I'm going to go on that journey and go traveling through all the states. And that's pretty cool.
We had guys from the UK, Travis, he had a left-hand drive cruiser, also on a Carnet. So they ship it over from Europe.
Yep.
And then they do all these events, and they leave the car in South Africa, store it there for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And they just pop down and have another holiday. So it's a beautiful country to like do that kind of
Explore.
stuff. So there's a lot of overlanding, type cruises in that. I think the whole country, that the guys, that's all they do, is like holiday trips. So
yeah, there's quite a few storage places like in Cape Town and Johannesburg where the vehicles are stored, serviced and kept in tip-top condition for the customer from Europe.
Yeah, wow. So it's a thing.
No, it's a thing.
Yeah,
It's an absolute thing. And when the customer arrives or the owner of that vehicle arrives by plane, the vehicle's ready. He goes to the storage. It's ready to go. Everything's gassed up. Battery's ready. The bedding is done. Everything's fresh. Him and the wife,
Ready to go.
they're ready to go and have a good time or a relaxing time in Southern Africa.
Tell me this. Obviously in Australia, we have like touring, and everyone does like a lap around Australia. It's something that's becoming more and more common these days for the people in Australia to do. Definitely COVID injected a huge push in that, where everyone's seeming to do it. But it hasn't slowed down. It seems to be very popular. In South Africa, do you have a similar thing where there's do they do a lap around South Africa, or is that a thing that, you find people, or is it more holiday destinations that people are traveling to? And is caravanning a thing in South Africa? Like, do you find that people are taking small campers? Because I know some of the cars and customers I've dealt with so far, it's small camper trailers that they're sort of towing around, not really caravans as such. But is that because the remote areas and the off-roading areas, you're sort of not taking these larger vans and they don't sell, or is it? Can you give us a bit of an insight into how that all works over there?
I think there's a big market for that, and there's I think the tourism in South Africa is great, and it's exactly that. It's the off-road, I think
smaller camper.
Whether it's like a camper or a caravan or like a trailer that with pop-up tents, etc., or the actual overlanding rigs on the cars. Also very popular. So a cruiser will have like a massive alley black or whatever unit on the back. They put rooftop tents and all kinds of stuff, and it's big business. So lots to see. So not so much a lap around, South Africa, but a lot of the stuff into Botswana. Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, beautiful places to see. Angola even, amazingly cheap on fuel and those kind of things. I think it's like cents compared to what we pay.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Very cheap.
Yeah. So what are you paying for fuel over there at the moment?
Diesel is about, we be around $3 something. So it's about 42 Rand, I think, a litre, if I'm not mistaken, at the moment.
Yeah.
which is about $3.
Just over
About
$3.
$3 in Angola.
Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In it. Yeah.
Is that no good?
In Angola, I think it's about 50 cents at the moment, the fuel.
50 cents.
In Aussie dollars, yeah.
Wow.
They subsidize the fuel for the locals in Angola. So fuel is very cheap there.
And what else do they have there? Is that there's nothing going on in
There's
that?
wildlife there.
Right, so it's more touristy. Is that
Touristy,
touristy?
yeah,
Yep. So safari hunts and traveling and stuff like that through
A
there.
lot of traveling and overlanding up, like the west coast of Africa. If you want to go up now back, let's say back to Europe, then they go that route.
What about the quality? Like, is the quality okay of fuel?
Quality is pretty sketchy.
Yep. 50 cents a litre. I'm like, hey, I'm not expecting
No,
it.
that fuel's fine. It's just because it's subsidized by the government. They got a lot of fuel. Angola has got a lot of fuel.
Right.
They
So
got
they
oil.
mine oil.
They got oil.
Right.
They
Okay.
got a lot of oil.
That's
Right.
Same as
So they got refineries there.
same as Nigeria.
Yeah. Right. There you go.
Got to make that too public. Just now America come to fucking bombs.
Fucking.
Thanks, Liam. But I mean, in terms of our overlanding, you guys have pretty big caravans, like big caravans.
Yeah. So 3.5 ton van is small. Back in the day, it used to be big, but you're talking a 22-foot van, which is 3.5 ton, would be the average, I would say, in Australia. You'd agree, Joshy? It'd have to be average. Nowadays, everyone says they're 3.5 ton, and that's only a small van. It's 22 foot, but it's internal 22 foot. So external, it's 24, 25 foot. And they're really starting to push into that, 4 to 4.5 ton category as far as weight goes. Everyone's obviously trying to reduce weight along the way. And something that I've seen over the years, and if we go back at the very start, I was lucky enough to, when I first bought Just Autos, I was in a shed with a caravan business, and they did repairs in that business. And at the time, it was really interesting seeing the size of the vans and the weight of the vans back then. Everything was under 3 ton. Like, you never really seen anything up there. And I think the first van that come in at that sort of weight, you're like, whoa, man, this is like, it's dual axle, it's 3 ton. Like, that's getting up there. And then before you knew it, everyone was like, hey, I need water tanks. And you're like, there's 3 or 4 water tanks, and there's like coffee makers, and there's this. It went from being a holiday you would take with a van with just the essentials to have a bed and a shower and a toilet. I think that was sort of like the upper class. And then it just went to, everyone's like, I can't leave without all my stuff from home. And everyone just went, I'm taking everything. And these vans just exploded in size, width, size, length, weight, like everything went through the roof. And nowadays you look at every van, there's not really a van in Australia that doesn't have pretty much every accessory that you would need at home. They would be taking with them in these setups. And that's something that surprised me, because I know from the photos I see with overlanding and so forth, you really are in a tent. It's like pop-up tents, but you have a pull-out kitchen, which is interesting with the wildlife that you have over in South Africa. I'm thinking like giraffes like pecking through your tent, and like rhinos and stuff. Like, I mean, I'm sure this place is like that. I think that what people think of Australia, that everything's here to kill you as well. But it's not like that. Like, the wildlife's, still running around, but it's just, we're used to it. But I've seen photos that you guys have sent me, like the other day with giraffes, and is it hippos you had? Last night you were showing me the hippos. That's pretty wild. Seeing all those creatures.
There's some wildlife out there, but what you're saying about the size of the caravans and those kind of things, I think in South Africa it's still smaller. I think GVM upgrades is a big thing in Australia.
Yes.
In South Africa, it hasn't really, happened yet. There are some heavy cruisers out
Do you have a regulation for weight and towing category? You do?
So it's very similar to Australian rules, actually. So European sort of thing. So 3.5 tons or whatever.
Yep.
It's the cutoff for, they call it category N1, which is a smaller license category as well.
Yeah.
And then N2 is the bigger trucks.
Yeah, we still have the same thing. Yeah.
Exactly the same thing. And then the weights that you're allowed to tow is only up to that weight. So 3.5 tons, unless you've got brake trailers, you can go heavier. But most of the guys don't upgrade the actual car, so they don't actually overload the cars, because it's a quite a big thing. And I think it'll be quite difficult if you do GVM upgrades, because if you get stopped by a cop in South Africa, I think they're not going to really believe you that you've upgraded this thing or whatever. And I don't know. It's not a big thing.
We've just never delved into that. But make no mistake, there's some seriously overloaded cruisers. We've done some cruisers that are 4.4 tons,
Yeah.
no GVM upgrade.
Yeah.
You know?
The funny thing is, it's actually pretty easy to get to those weights very quickly when you start to look at it. It's really funny when you're looking at standard 79 series and you put a canopy on the back and you're like, man, I'm pretty much on the limit. Besides, like when I put people in and feeling where we measure it from, there's no room left over. And, you know, some of the cruisers we see nowadays, you know, battery setups and, you know, drawers and fridges and freezers, and it's like solar, like it just doesn't stop. I reckon even just the cabling in the cars would weigh 20 kilos. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, just alone. And I think it's great that a lot of guys go into sort of like a lithium batteries, because that's probably the lightest part of the whole setup. You know what I mean? Going to some of them, because those batteries are quite amazing how light they are. But
what we are finding is I think we have to be a little bit smaller than what the Australians are doing in terms of the big caravans, because some of the remote, with all due respect, you guys have a lot of remote places too. But I mean, if you're in Botswana, you're running 100 kilometers on sand, on soft sand, and you cannot stop.
yeah.
You know, and you need quite a bit of power to keep going.
And do you have things like, I guess, tow responses? Like we have RSEQ that's pretty well heavily through Australia. So if people have breakdowns, there's always a chance to be able to tow, depending on where you are within reason. But do you have that support in South Africa? It's like you're on your own?
You are on your own. If you're in Botswana, you're on your own unless a mate comes and helps you.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's why I think we don't have.
So reliability is, you know,
Reliability is key. Absolutely key. It's actually not negotiable.
Yeah.
At all. The second thing is you have, especially with the bigger cruisers that's towing around, the normal 79 is not going to cut it. You have to have a little bit more power to keep going.
Yeah.
Especially when it gets thick sand, hot midday, drop the tire pressures down to 0.8 of a bar.
Yeah.
And you're towing even a 2-ton trailer behind there or a caravan.
Yeah.
That cruiser is working hot and hard at 40 degrees Celsius midday in Botswana. It's working hard.
Yeah. So the weather's dry and humid. Is it humid over there? Not so much.
It's dry, it's humid. We got everything.
Yeah, there's desert areas, very dry, sand dunes, and then you got the tropical areas on the coastlines, and so it's all kinds of weather.
Yeah, got rainy season. Yeah, you know, like Travis, our mate, just came from rainy season, where he took his
Like fun.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. But he went basically from Cape Town all the way to Victoria Falls. He took his missus from the UK to see Africa or Southern Africa for the first time.
Yeah, wow.
He found every river crossing or mud puddle to drive through.
Yeah,
So-
he's got a massive cruiser.
Yeah, he's got Tinnis loves his cruiser.
Another thing to add, not only do they go through all those conditions, they go at it like 140.
Yeah.
It's just all extreme. They want to go fast.
Especially Travis.
Travis is,
Yeah.
Absolutely mad. So,
Yeah, I guess that's we take for granted here in Australia, especially you know, we've got these big vans and big setups, and definitely a lot of the time, you know, a lot of people are very overloaded, and they're traveling Australia, but you know, break down. We've got tow trucks that will be within a day, you know, and a lot of the areas are definitely accessible to be able to get, you know, recovery done and so forth. Yeah, so I guess that's one of the things that we have that I think people rely on. So that's pretty important. But it's interesting to hear that if you're traveling, even with these campers and you break down, that you're like, man, you're pretty much stuck. So I'm guessing you guys would carry things like sat phones when you start to get pretty remote and stuff like that.
definitely. I think a lot of guys are now, you know, especially when we go out of South Africa, they use Starlink, things like that.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's not available in South Africa, by the way. So,
yeah. Or Namibia,
Yeah, right.
by the way.
bit of politics there, but it's one of those.
But I mean, the guys usually travel in convoy. So, you know, if one vehicle breaks down or something, there's help. But if you're by yourself, you're by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, there's many times that a trailer's broken down or an axle's
And you'll
hurt.
you're leaving.
You actually just have to leave everything there and keep going and maybe retrieve it later.
Yeah.
If it's still there.
Yeah.
we actually have
Yeah. If it's still there.
one of our suppliers actually, they manufacture a track, you know, correction sort of axles, longer axles, and then the track correction on the back of the cruiser. And he purely did that because he broke down and he had spacers on the back and one of the wheel bearings failed. I think he said it cost him 80,000 Rand or something to recover his car.
Yeah. Wow.
He decided to design something better. Wheel bearings are better. And so people do that because it's so costly to recover a car from there. So you don't want to have a breakdown. It's really, really costly.
Yeah, is it dangerous as well? Like, I mean, I'm sure there's areas, just like anywhere in the world, there'd be certain areas that you could afford to break down, and some areas you just do not want to break down. But is it like that, like just from the population, but also wildlife areas and stuff like that? Like, there's certain areas.
I mean, if you're remote and if you're in the desert or something, you don't want to break down, especially if you're going to be traveling on your own. Most of these guys do travel in groups, so there'd be a sort of a tourist thing, and that they travel.
Yeah, so it's pretty silly to be going by yourself. Basically, you're asking for trouble.
But it does happen. It
does
happens. Yeah.
So I mean, we had a case on our last trip in Namibia where one of the vehicles was in an unfortunate accident, and we had to retrieve the vehicle from Namibia across the South African border and get it back to Cape Town. So that even though it was not repairable, we had to get it back, and it cost a pretty penny,
Yeah,
So,
very costly. So you don't want to get that situation, and that's why reliability is just absolutely.
it's just not negotiable.
Yeah, makes sense.
And
That's why Toyota is used.
Yeah.
It's purely for that factor. It's a total belief that a LandCruiser will go anywhere and there's always help available.
Get you home.
The other thing is, if you're in Botswana or Mozambique, there's so many cruisers out there too. So there's always going to be somebody that can fix it.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. It'd be interesting how you find that with the Rams, because that's something with the American trucks that always had reservations. I think they're a fantastic car. I think they're built to purpose to tow heavyweight. I think there's so many positives about them. I think one of the only things, and I say this a lot, the only negatives that I see with it is the support here in Australia, the lack of parts. So if something goes wrong, you got to be okay with sitting for a few weeks while a part gets flown in, or someone doesn't quite know how to work on that particular car. You've got to be patient. And where on the cruiser side of things, that most farmers, even a lot of them that aren't qualified mechanics, still know their way around to be able to repair it and be able to do something for you.
Exactly the same situation.
Yeah.
So especially with our Rams as well, same thing. There's a little bit of support available, but not as much as a cruiser. So you're going to find a Toyota guy everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and that's the thing. Just about all the way up to Zambia, Angola, there's a Toyota dealership just about in every small town.
Yeah.
It's really that
Popular.
The network of Toyota is really good in Southern Africa, And I mean, even for our upgrades and our automatic transmission conversions, I mean, if you're in Namibia, there's actually a guy who will help you there. We have somebody there. If you're in Botswana, there's somebody there. If you're in Zimbabwe, there's somebody there.
Yeah, also you got the support network.
Yeah, we got guys that are like-minded, and they actually work on Toyotas, and they've actually installed our upgrades, so they know something about if something goes wrong, they can assist. We can even reprogram in Namibia if we need to. All in Zambia, we've reprogrammed all the way in Zambia already. Customers not shifting right on the tranny for his purposes there, overlanding or whatever. Hop on any desk, remap it, and off we go.
Yep.
Simple
technology is amazing nowadays, isn't it?
Yes, it's amazing.
Yeah, it
Starlink,
definitely is.
laptop.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
What about you have Starlink in South Africa? So you don't have it in South Africa? Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, right.
Elon loves us. It's the government that doesn't love Elon so much.
Yeah.
Right. So it just doesn't work.
No, it works, but they switched it off. So if you bring one across the border, it might work for a bit, but
there's a point it'll cut off.
Yeah. If you buy one, and you 3 months out of the country where you bought it from, or 3 months out of where it's allowed to be, then it just shuts off, and then you got to go cross border again. So what most guys are doing is they have Mozambique, which is like 200 k's, 300 k's away.
Yeah, they just keep crossing.
It's like go to the border, literally sit at the border for like 20 minutes, reactivates it, and goes back home.
Yeah,
but that's a bit of
it's a bit of an effort.
It's available, but not really available.
Yeah, so in South Africa and in Namibia, it's more of a licensing issue.
Yeah,
between Starlink and it's usually the governmental communications authority to get the licenses to allow that technology
to be in
that place. So they're trying to work it out at the moment. But
so if you didn't have Starlink, do you have like good internet access regardless, like tower wise? Like, do you have 5G over there?
Yes, I think South Africa is probably one of the best.
Wow, really?
It was pretty good. It's not great, but it's probably one of the best. I mean, it was one of the countries that I think developed the quickest because everything's so remote. So cell phone
communication stuff
really went big, and it's available mostly everywhere, but there are remote areas that's got nothing. So definitely a satellite phone or something would be best.
Okay,
So-
yeah, cool. No,
There's a lot of two-way radios. I mean, if you're doing touring,
Yeah.
you got
Yeah,
shortwave and long-wave radios.
Yeah.
Just like what you guys had
Yeah.
there in the Outback.
Yeah, that's pretty much a go-to thing.
Yes.
Um,
So if
Makes
you're a serious overlander, you have both frequencies available in your cruiser and sat phone. They do have a sat phone, especially the internationals. They will come with a sat phone. If you rent a vehicle from one of the touring companies that have overlanding vehicles, yeah, you could. The option is get yourself sat
It's a
phone.
great community. You know, we are obviously some groups, and you guys don't use WhatsApp that much, but there's WhatsApp groups of 79 owners, and I've seen guys break down on the way to Namibia, you know, on a remote road, and you somehow have internet access, or WhatsApp, you know, signal, and he'll just ask, does anybody know anybody in this area? And you could see somebody respond, yeah, I know, you know, Fricky down the road or whatever, he's going to sort you out. Just here's his number, and they'll contact him, and the guy would be sorted.
yeah, wow.
So it's a community.
Yeah, definitely seems very much so.
I've got one of my clients that we're actually doing an Autobox for in France now, and we're doing a supercharger for that same client in a LandCruiser V6 petrol, and he's bringing a group of people down to Namibia. And the first thing he put on our group was, can somebody help us with the two-way radios, the frequencies and everything? Within 10 minutes, we had him sorted out. We had the rentals sorted out with Franco, Nell up in Namibia, and he's all sorted for his trip with his clients.
Yeah, wow, that's cool.
So that's how our little
Network
our
works.
communities work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Definitely.
Okay, so 300 series in South Africa. I know personally, I've been contacted by other third parties around surging issues with 300 series. I've actually been contacted by many companies around the world in different areas with this particular problem. It's obviously a big problem for you guys as well. One of the things that was interesting, I think, where it's more prominent for the guys in South Africa is in Johannesburg and so forth is so far above sea level, so it's more prominent in those areas. But how do you think that problem is for you guys? And also, you know, being able to offer a solution down the track for those customers will be very good for all of us to be able to do that. But how has the 300s been received in South Africa? Coming from the 70 series and then going into, you know, the 200 series, but now stepping up into 300. I know the sales there are definitely there, but I know there's a bit of kickback in this particular area that I've seen.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was them, again, dropping the V8, you know, diesel, I think from the 200 to the 300. That was probably the biggest pushback.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think well received. You know, once it started selling, it just takes off very quickly. It's Toyota, you know, so the guys will always upgrade. They'll get to the better car, and this 300 series being the signature car, it is always going to sell. So you've always got that, and again, you've got the overlanding guys that'll make it bigger, and then you got the soccer moms that drives them, and so it's all over. So definitely quite a very a popular car, but the surging problem.
Yeah.
So we get inquiries for that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So in terms of sales volumes, more on a statistical side, the 300 series is the top seller in South Africa by a long margin against any other SUV outside of Toyota. So if you want a brand new Toyota, you're looking at about 6 to 8 month waiting list at the moment.
Yep.
Just to get one.
Yep.
Unless you go to
That's pretty much the same.
nondescript sales.
Yeah.
Car dealership who has bought
a lot more. Yeah.
has a bit of,
You'll pay a bit more for that one.
and you'll pay for the privilege to have one now.
Yeah.
That's what we call it. You pay for the privilege to have one immediately.
Yeah.
You know?
And you mentioned the surging problem, and
Yes.
there's a height above sea level, and I've driven one of the standard ones, and you know, and after you've tuned it, it was just a huge difference. But it is quite prominent, especially in the Gauteng area, you know, being so high.
Yeah, definitely.
Turbos, there's definitely a huge gap between the two.
Yeah.
That you could feel it.
Yeah. It's a very unique system, and it's funny that I know that there's been received problems around the surging. We had the same thing in Australia. We had a lot of customers complaining about it. It was one of the first things we started to realize what was happening. And yeah, it's probably one of the negatives. But after doing the package and solving that particular issue and improving how the car drives in that area, I mean, like I love the 300 series. I know you guys haven't had huge amounts to do with it yet, and you're definitely very big on 70 series. 300 series is where the future is. It's the light as far as the technology that's in there, the motors, the design around everything, I think is amazing. I think a lot of people get so set on like hot Vs and all these other things, but like take all of that out of it. It's definitely a very efficient engine. It works really, really well. Go through. So it'll be interesting to see how the 300 series continues to go down that path, especially in your country, and how you guys deal with it and go with it. But I'm sure we'll be able to do a lot there for a lot of the customers, that's for sure.
Very excited. We haven't really advertised it, and I think once we really push for this, I think there's going to be a big market for it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, there's been a lot of inquiries coming, via Just Autos, in Australia, coming through to us via you guys for the solution. There has been Toyota dealerships, and even the brand ambassador of Toyota South Africa on the LandCruiser side has highlighted the challenges they are experiencing with this surging issue and trying to find an amicable solution for their clients. As we know, your solution is there. It's about.
Thanks, everyone.
I think everyone's aware of the problem without sort of trying to highlight who knows what and where. Yes, we have something that is, it doesn't 100% solve it, but we get, at least 80-90% of that problem gone. It improves it massively. We get a better drivability out of the car, and that's what it's designed to do. And that's a positive for the customer. Knowing the cars that I've done in South Africa, especially around the 300 series stuff, have, drastically changed the driving style of that vehicle and what they wanted from their car.
What we could maybe mention is that Ryan did say that they'll set up a WhatsApp line, which is not very popular in Australia, seemingly.
No, we use it all the time.
They will set up a proper WhatsApp line, so our customers in South Africa that is interested can talk to the Australian sales team.
Oh yeah, cool.
And there's even a guy that can speak Afrikaans. So a little bit of broken Afrikaans, but it's early there. So
cool.
Guys in South Africa.
That's probably not a bad idea.
To the guys at Just Autos,
For sure.
the facility is available, so it will be soon.
He does even hear a lot of bookies.
I don't even know what you're fucking saying. What the fuck does that mean?
There's going to be a lot of
Afrikaners.
Farmers, or boertjies. Boer means farm.
So I guess probably the last thing we'll talk about before some of the questions I've got to go through, more personally, as far as what do you guys do as hobbies? As much as in Australia, camping and caravanning is a big thing. For me, boating, water. I love the water. I'm obsessed with the water. But I'm interested, what do you guys do? Is it hunting, or is it, obviously with your cars and your businesses, you've got a lot going on, but when you do find 5 minutes, what is it that you are doing?
I think for me, it's quite difficult. I don't have a lot of time to do much holiday. I do work holidays. So we do a lot of fun events like the drag racing and all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But when I do get the chance, I love hunting. So we get out there and just have a bit of fun with the kids. So it really is get out there and just relax, because that's totally where
Go hunting. It's like, it's so funny. It's like, we'll just go relax and we'll just go hunting.
well,
you got
you don't have
lions chasing you down the road, but it's just relax.
Well, it really is, because there's no cell phone signal. If you try and find a place where there's nothing, and then we call it beach, but there's a spot that we go to near Richards Bay. It's about 40 k's from Richards Bay, and we get onto the beach. There's no cell phone signal, and we just go for
them big great whites.
Just go camp, and so it's really good.
No, you don't have them there?
We got the bull sharks and the tigers.
Yeah, we got the same.
Yeah,
they're fine. I'm all right with them. Just the big great whites when they come through. They're the ones that you don't really want to be hanging around with, I don't think. What about you, Jace? What do you do?
I am a water baby, so
you love the water too?
Absolutely. So every bit of spare time I have, I'm either stand-up paddling, or wind winging, or kite surfing, or scuba diving, or wakeboarding, anything to do with water.
Yep, love it.
I'm there. My dogs, we're always down at the beach if I have a moment. A morning walk on the beach quickly before work starts, or in the evening, just go take down and just have a dip in the water. I live very close to the water. It's very close.
You showed me some photos. It's an amazing place.
So I live in a very beautiful part of South Africa, very privileged. I take those opportunities when I'm not working 12, 14 hours a day, just to get out there and just appreciate what I have.
But I can see the passion in both of you. I mean, all of you, as far as what you do. So, it makes it easy to do what you do when you love what you're doing, I
often said, if you do something you love, you don't work a day in your life. And for me, the Ram thing is a passion. The Cruiser thing is a passion. I never thought I'd be a LandCruiser guy, but
He said,
No, we're going to convert you. The 300s, man, are going to
he
convert you.
said there was no chance on God's green earth that he would ever drive a manual LandCruiser. So we had to upgrade him to an auto. You
I
know?
couldn't believe the first manual cruiser I ever drove how shit it was. I said, how the fuck do people drive this?
And there's millions of them out
What does she do? It was like, do you see?
Just
I didn't say it.
oh, you like flashing your arms looking straight.
Yeah, look, it's
it's the truth. Though.
we'll move on. You're right. All right, so we're going to get into these last questions. So these are rapid fire questions we ask everyone that comes on, and I'm going to get both of you to answer them. Actually, I'll get all three of you to answer them. Why not? That's not really going to work. Which was that? Okay,
What's Holden all for?
Holden for, but they don't have Holden.
Yeah, but that's the context. I get that.
What is the question?
Okay, the question is, we're starting with the Australian rivalry, right? Which is between Holden and Ford. So that's our rivalry here between those two manufacturers. Holden's not around anymore.
We've got Toyota and Ford is a big rivalry on the Ranger.
Yep.
The Ranger Hilux, it's a banter all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what would it be for you guys?
Yeah.
It's got to be Hilux.
Yeah. So Toyota.
Toyota and Ford.
Yeah. With Liam.
Alex.
Yep. Toyota.
Alex.
All right. So next one, petrol or diesel?
Diesel for me,
Diesel.
100%.
Easy. LandCruiser or Ram?
A Ram, sorry.
LandCruiser.
Oh, is that fucking around? Gotta be a 2-power, is it?
Yeah.
Around 2-power.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Safari or boating?
Safari.
Boating.
I don't swim so well. I sink.
Do you have the Barras? We call them Barras. They're 6-cylinder
Barra engines.
Yeah, Barra engines.
We got other type of. What is the question? So they're not.
The question is Barra or LS?
Okay. So what?
Hemi or LS?
LS, yeah.
Okay.
Is it L? Yeah, V8.
Hemi.
Hemi.
LS.
LS.
No, Hemi.
Hemi. You like your dad, don't you? Okay, Red Bull or Coke?
None. Jeez, that stuff will kill you.
Coke.
Coke.
Red Bull.
Or you feel. All right, beach holiday or snow holiday?
Beach.
Beach.
Beach. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Manual or automatic? Oh, this is going to be freaking easy, isn't it?
Auto, 100%.
Auto.
Order.
Morning or night?
Night. I don't know the way home if it's not night. It's got to be dark.
Fair enough.
Morning.
Morning?
Nah.
Night. Okay, circuit or street racing?
Circuit. 100%.
None.
Street racing, 100%.
You can see the demographic difference, hey, like age, like, okay, rally or drag?
Rally.
Rally.
Nah, but
Both. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee.
copy.
Turbo or supercharger?
Turbo.
Turbo.
That way.
Okay. I'm surprised. SUV or sedan?
Sedan.
SUV.
Sedan.
All right. And last question, ocean or mountains?
Ocean.
Ocean.
I missed one. Your pizza or steak, Christian.
Oh, I fucking did too.
And that's your favorite one.
It is my favorite one. All right. Pizza or steak?
Steak. Carnival. But
Steak.
That's a tough one. But I like the big steak.
Steak. Yeah, see, I love pizza.
No, you're not gonna go. You're not gonna go far.
But being South African, I imagine steak would be it because you guys like land of built on,
I love
jerky
pizza
and-
too, but
you know,
if
meat.
a good South African steak comes my way, it's not gonna go shibboleth.
Get a good pizza. They're very inconsistent South African.
I've got good pizza places where I live.
Yeah, good pizza, bro.
Yeah, we did. What's the one place we went to? I really know.
Which one? Oh,
There with your dad and your mom.
jeez.
It was somewhere there.
no, there's much better steak there. That is patata.
Oh, you mean the Espatado Monticello's?
Oh, yeah.
That one. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no, I got some good steak places. My mate owns his own abattoir and farms. Yeah, so I get a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, cool.
And
All right,
rides Toyota, of course.
loves Toyota.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for coming
That
on.
was awesome.
I appreciate you flying all the way ahead. It's been an honor to have you guys here, and I really appreciate the respect, but also the commitment to do this. I think you guys will do amazing things in South Africa. I'm looking forward to the future and providing Just Autos products to your customers and giving the support and the network and running with it. So
I think from our side, we wanted the best
Mm.
and we got it. So we're happy to do this, and we're very excited to really push for this.
Yeah, we are. We want the best for our customers. We are the top draw company, and that's where we're at. Awesome. And that's what we want to provide.
Guys are getting excited for this. I've had a few chat with my mates that are big into all the Toyota stuff. They're excited. They're really excited to start, when we started rolling Tuesday. So making it.
Yeah, awesome. Sweet. Thanks. All right, thanks for watching. It was a great episode. I really enjoyed that. So if you're in South Africa and you're looking for a Just Autos product, we now have LandCruiser on as a distributor of Just Autos. So get in contact with us or LandCruisers, and we'll be happy to get you sorted. And we have more international distributors to follow very shortly. Stay tuned.